After we began a trickle of fundraising, it occurred to us we need to reach out to our potential constituency. I went to Atlanta, and a little lunch was arranged by 3 or 4 former students. I said, well, where do you go, or do you go for your intellectual refreshment? And they said, oh, the University of Georgia has a midwinter program that we often go to because it's so rich. They use their own faculty. And I said, now, would you be interested in sort of generating something similar at Chapel Hill? We had devised a plan to present to the dean an outline for an institute, a facility that would support the teaching and research and outreach of faculty members in music and all the arts and humanities. And it's amazing, 18 full professors sat around a table and came to an agreement with only 4 weeks. That's amazing. That was a great moment. We were benefited by the services of Buck Goldstein, Sherwood Smith, Barbara Hyde, and John O'Hara. That was the sequence of chairs of the board for the Institute. And I bet you couldn't have dreamed up a better congregation than that. Julia Grumbles was extraordinarily relevant for us because we were beginning to, what shall we say, need to be kicked a little bit or sparked a little bit, because nothing is more worrisome than success if you want to keep growing and experimenting. Each person came out of different communities, and that meant each time we had a new director, we were put in touch with another community, their circle of friends. It's wonderful to see Caroline preside over a meeting because her laughter and her attention is so infectious that makes it a happy event. Dee Schwab and Barbara Hyde and Becky Pardue and Jane Armfield and Mary Flanagan and I loved going through Virginia and New Haven and sort of sporting this kind of armament, you might call it, on our quest for the perfect architect. And so the building speaks, but it needs, like all speakers, interpreters. The double entry relationship between the Institute and campus and town. If you compare those, you say, well, these are 2 different worlds. That's a mistake in a democracy, to make a different world out of the street and of the campus. We are the passageway between the North and the South, and this place ought to be alert to both directions and not just to the inner direction. And as we have an obligation, given our doorstep and given our other doorstep, to be mediators and cultivators and advocates for a quality of civic life that matches the quality of the life we're trying to support thanks to our faculty and the programs we have for them. Cutting that ribbon and having it fall across the pathway, on the other side of which was the opening to this building, was magic. Everyone in this room tonight has a story to tell about how and when you joined up. And you may think it's a small story, but when you read all the stories that are represented by the people at this table, it's a long, thick, boiling, cool, exciting, surprising story. And so remember, we all share a common story, but we each have our versions of it because that's how we got here. I am grateful to a quiver to each and all of you, including those who could not come. Membership of our board, our former board members, our donors, And those who in various ways have been served by the Institute are guardians. Assume yourself a guardian. Every institution is fragile because it depends on the quality of leadership and the lay support beyond the immediate day-to-day activities of the institution. And nothing is more cheering to the people who live in Hyde Hall than to have you walk through that door and say, I was here 20 years ago. How are things going? Welcome people back as well as welcome new people as they arrive. And it's got to be a constant exchange of departures and arrivals that keeps this place alive and progressing. So it's a collective celebration and thanksgiving that goes to all of us, but particularly to the early donors and the continuing donors. How rare in this society do you find that kind of loyalty over time, now going on 30 years? To be continued.